Darwin was 22 when the Beagle sailed, and Fitzroy was 26. They were therefore confident of their ability to withstand all the difficulties of 19th century sea travel.
Moreover, they shared a young man's conviction that these difficulties should be accepted as a necessary feature of starting out on the road to becoming an acknowledged expert, each in their own field. 45. It happens that computer programming is a relatively easy craft to learn. Almost anyone with a reasonably orderly mind can become a fairly good programmer with just a little instruction and practice. And because programming is almost immediately rewarding, that is, because a computer very quickly begins to behave somewhat in the way the programmer intends it to, programming is very attractive, especially for beginners.
46. Over the centuries, no doubt many great artists have fallen ill, but no record is at hand to indicate whether their illnesses had a significant influence on their creativity. It was only in the 19th century that the illnesses of two contemporaries, Friedrich Nietzsche and Vincent van Gogh, both of whom spent considerable time in mental hospitals, gave rise to the question of how their illnesses were related to their work. 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 7. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife 47. I belong to that classification of people known as wives. I am a wife, and not altogether incidentally, I am a mother. Not too long ago, a male friend of mine appeared on the scene, fresh from a recent divorce. He had one child, who is of course with his ex-wife. He is looking for another wife. As I thought about him while I was ironing one evening, it suddenly occurred to me that I too would like to have a wife. I would like to go back to school so that I can become economically independent, support myself, and if need be, support those dependent upon me. 48. If we consider what language really adds to the life of our species, we may be inclined to say that it allows people to communicate with one another. It is easy to think of language as being the same as communication, forgetting that it does other things, and that we are able to communicate without using it. 49. Each year I find handsome books whose illustrations give me pause on that account. I am not aware that any book that I read as a child, or listened to as it was read,